Welcome again to another lesson on the Yalak Emmett channel, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon. This is the New Testament is Fake series for October 2nd, 2016. The lesson is Cat-9, We Will Eat Kings. And again, in the copycat lessons, I'm showing how the New Testament is not trying to be original, or it doesn't offer us much of any new thing. You would figure if God does this marvelous revelation in Jesus, who is the final revelation of God, they tell us, then he would bring some final or some new kind of revelation to the book, something that would just blow us out of the waters. But instead we're finding that Jesus and the New Testament people are just copying things that are in the Old Testament and just giving a little new spin on it, but it's the same stuff. All right, so let's begin from the book of Revelations, chapter 19, verse 17 to 19. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth, and their armies, gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse, and against his army. So when I was in the Christian church as a small boy, they taught us this was Jesus Christ returning, and he's going to be fighting against the armies of the world, the people of the world, and people would have been raptured already, and then 10,000 of his saints, or 144,000, or some say 200,000. They never can really get it right. But whatever the correct number is, he's coming back with his saints who were raptured, and some who had died already, and who were also caught up. And he's coming back to fight a war. A war. They made it sound to us all along, and even in the books I read as I grew up, that this was something new, and this was not in the Old Testament. It was just a New Testament quote-unquote prophecy, although some say there are really no prophecies in the New Testament, meaning no prophecies original, because obviously they're repeating prophecies from the Old Testament. But some are saying that Jesus did not even prophesy stuff, so that came to pass, so he's not actually a prophet. But basically they're letting us know that this is just new stuff that's just unique to the New Testament. But I'm going to show you that those were just verses of deception, copycat verses of deception, that were copying what was already in the Old Testament, but they did not put any effort into teaching us these things, that they were already in the Torah or the Old Testament. It's just a copycat, and so you are being shortchanged if you believe the Bible is from God, because you are not getting the real thing if you do not study the Torah. Let's get it from the Torah and see where it really came from. Now for the root of the copycat, as I call it, where these prophecies or verses that I call the root were already planted in the Old Testament, and the New Testament is just taking from it, but the root or the life of it is in the Old Testament. Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 17 to 20. Here's what it's saying. And thou, son of man, thus saith the Lord God, speak unto every feathered fowl, and to every beast of the field. So they're talking about people when they say feathered fowl and the beast of the field and so on. Assemble yourselves and come. Gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. Ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty, and drink the blood of the princes of the earth. And if you read other prophecies like in Isaiah and even Jeremiah, you will understand, as I am beginning to teach in the Africa of God series on my channel. So look me up, Yalak Emet, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, and Rethinking the Torah. And you will see that these prophecies, even the Gog-Magog war and so on, in the end, these wars are about Africa. And they're going to come for us. Those are the saints of the Lord. They are the people of the Lord. So Israel in the Bible is Africa in real life, and the Africans. And basically, they're going to be destroyed in that final war. And so he's saying, you will eat the flesh of the mighty and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs, and of goats, of bullocks, all of them fatlings of Bashan. And ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken of my sacrifice, which I have sacrificed for you. Basically means they're gonna be destroyed before you. And all the goodness and the riches of the earth is gonna flow to you again. Because their kings and their armies will be destroyed, and those left of the nations, as they form their new kings, their new rulers, will have to come to bring their silver and gold and so on to the land of the Lord, the people of the Lord. Even as he said already in Joel chapter 2 and 3, that they stole my silver and my gold. So they're going to be bringing it back. Verse 20, thus ye shall be filled at my table. So remember in Revelations 19, verse 17 to 19 that I read, that you're going to be eating the flesh of kings. This is where it's taken from. This is the root of such verses in the book of Revelations in the New Testament. It is making you sound in the New Testament in Revelations that this is just people in general, and these are Christians or the saints of the Lord coming back and so on. Now, these are the Africans, the people of the Lord. And they shall be filled at my table. So when you talk about like the great Lord's Supper and so on in the book of Revelations, when you get to heaven and so on, this is the real Lord's Supper here, where the Lord is providing a supper at his table. And he says in verse 20, thus ye shall be filled at my table, because blacks are hungry more and more all over the world. But he's going to be changing that. At my table, filled at my table, with horses and chariots, with mighty men, and with all men of war, saith the Lord God. That's where it was taken from. Revelations 19 was just a set of verses of deception. The root I've just given to you in Ezekiel 39, 17 to 20. New Testament is not unique. It's just a copycat system. You just heard it again. Yalak Emet channel. New Testament is Fake series. Twitter, YouTube, Patreon. We will eat kings. We will feast on them.